fast food giant McDonald's announcing plans to raise the minimum wage for workers at restaurants that it owns directly.
Our Kate Rogers joins us now with the details. Hi, Kate.
Hey, Kelly and Bill, that's right. Well, McDonald's moved to raise its minimum wage to an average of $10 an hour by the end of 2016. Of course, means the fast food giant joins the ranks of other big U.S. retailers, including Target, Walmart, TJ Maxx, and The Gap in raising the minimum wage. But for some people, it's not enough, and here's why. The wage hike only applies to McDonald's corporate locations, which are about 10% of its more than 14,000 stores across the country. The remaining 90% are owned by independent franchisees who are able to set their own wage rates. Fast food protesters, of course, think this move is not enough. In fact, the Fight for 15 movement, which kicked off in 2012, has specifically targeted McDonald's over the past several years. And as you can see today, protests picked up again in select cities across the country. Now, McDonald's new president and CEO, Steve Easterbrook, says this is just one of his first moves as a new leader, and that the company is going to continue to evaluate wages and benefits for its workers going forward. Kelly and Bill, back over to you.
Kate, thank you very much. McDonald's workers say the new wage hikes aren't enough. Critics are saying higher wages are good for some, but others will face job loss.
Let's talk about it. Kendell Fells is back with us. He's organizing director for the Fight for 15, and Michael Salzman is research director at the Employment Policies Institute. Good to see both of you. Kendell, I'm going to bet you're going to say this is not enough.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's just look at the facts here. Fact number one is the only reason McDonald's raised these wages are because fast food workers have been going on strike for the last 2 years. It's meager, but fast food workers are taking a bow and have more momentum than they've ever had. Point number two, I would say, is 10% of their workers are affected. So that's over 650,000 McDonald's workers here in the U.S. that will not receive a raise, right. 1.6 million around the world that will not receive a raise. Point number three, I would say, is there's still $1 billion price tag that taxpayers are picking up because McDonald's is forcing their employees onto public assistance. And I think that Americans are saying that that's unreasonable at this point.
Kendall, the new CEO, Steve Easterbrook, has taken out full-page ads in the newspapers today saying, I'm the new CEO, this is a new McDonald's, a new culture, I'm doing these wage hikes, we're going to offer some education assistance. Do you believe that he's ultimately going to move this company in the kind of direction that you'd like to see it, or do you think this is all just talk?
I mean, I think it's a PR stunt. What he needs to do is he needs to sit down with Kwanzaa Brooks, who I met a couple of weeks ago, who works at a corporate McDonald's. She makes $7.25. Now she's going to make $8.25, still not be able to feed her kids and clothe them and keep a roof over their head.
Michael, what do you make of this?
Well, I mean, I think the SEIU would know a thing or two about a PR stunt, right? I mean, they've spent the last couple years plowing tens of millions of dollars into orchestrating this faux grassroots PR campaign that's essentially designed to demonize restaurants. I mean, the only thing that's going to be enough for the SEIU is when McDonald's employees are dues-paying members of the SEIU. And I think the fact that we're even asking this question, is it enough, is really indicative of how far off base we are in this conversation. I mean, there's a company like McDonald's that's creating jobs, that's decided to raise wages, and they're doing actually real things to help the employees. And meanwhile, people like the SEIU, they're passing unworkable mandates in cities like Oakland and San Francisco. We're seeing that they have real consequences for small businesses. And so I think it's kind of ridiculous to sit here and listen to someone like Kendell Fells claim that he's trying to help people out. Really, all he's trying to do is get more union dues.
Ouch. Speaking of demonizing,
well,
Kendall?
I think the facts speak for themselves. We can sit here and pontificate, but if you go and talk to Adriana Alvarez, who works for McDonald's in Chicago, Illinois, has a beautiful son named Manny, she's still going to be on Medicaid. She's still going to be on food stamps. She still can't survive. If you go talk to Nancy Salgado, who's a McDonald's worker in Chicago, she still will be on state assistance.
What about his charges, Kendall, that you guys are spending too much on these efforts? How much does it cost?
What this is about is a $1 billion price tag that taxpayers are picking up because McDonald's is forcing their employees onto public assistance.
Hey, Kendall,
what this is about is, look, we can sit here. We can sit here and go back and forth. We can sit here and go back and forth, we can sit here and go back and forth, but the reality of this situation is fast food workers are headed into the biggest mobilization of low-wage workers in U.S. history, and they're changing the conversation in this country.
Okay,
hey, Kendall, here's what needs to happen. You need to explain.
Michael, hang on a second. Hang on. Before you guys are picking on each other on this whole thing and making this personal, let me just ask you, Michael, I mean, this is only going to be applicable, this wage increase, to 1,500 stores out of the 14,000 that exist in the United States for McDonald's. So, I mean, just looking at that number right now, isn't this more of a PR stunt than anything else? Do you expect the franchisees to follow the mothership with this wage increase?
Well, I think they can, depending on the market they're in, right? If a franchisee looks around and makes a decision at the corporate level made that, hey, based on our market, we think we can raise prices enough to offset this, I think they may do it. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that the kind of $15 mandate that the SEIU is seeking really isn't workable. I mean, I'd like someone like Kendell Fells to sit here and explain to people how an independent operator is supposed to absorb a 60% increase in their labor costs and not lose business, right? And not have to cut staffing levels, not have to automate the kinds of jobs that used to be done by employees. This is going to have a direct and negative impact on the exact people he claims he wants to help.
Okay, let me ask it this way. We all know how negotiations work, Kendell. You guys are calling for $15. Will you accept $10? That's more than you're getting now.
Ever since the beginning of this campaign, these workers have had two demands: $15 an hour and the right to form a union without retaliation from their employer. They will not stop until they get that. It is clear that
so there's no room for compromise.
There's no room for compromise. What's clear here is that workers going on strike for the last 2 years has forced the hand of McDonald's. McDonald's always said that they could not raise wages for any employees and that they would not. Now we have 90,000 employees, McDonald's employees, that are getting a $1 raise. It's meager, but fast food workers are excited, and they have a chant that says, we believe that we will win. They know for sure they're going to win now because they just pushed the second largest private employer in the world into doing something that they didn't want to do, and those are the facts.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you both. I assume you're not going to be meeting for lunch anytime soon.
I'm always open for lunch, man.
Maybe at a McDonald's.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Thank you both.